going on, guys? Welcome to the very first episode of the Raw on Netflix podcast, a new show coming here on the Drive-In Podcast Network that will air weekly, where I'm joined by my good friend Dom Fisher to break down Netflix Raw. It's a match made in heaven, and one that we felt was perfect to reunite. And why not jumpstart another podcast? As I mentioned, my co-host here, Mr. Dom Fisher. How are you, man?
Finally, Dom and Ricky have come back to the podcast. No, dude, this is gonna be fun. It's I feel like Raw being on Netflix, and hopefully they move SmackDown to another streaming service or both on Netflix. Something. I know they want to kind of diversify, so they're kind of everywhere, but this being on Netflix, it exactly what Triple H was saying is it does give it more legs. It lets us all be able to watch it because a lot of us don't have cable no more, and I wasn't able to watch a lot of stuff. I did have my years where I fell off of wrestling, but when I started catching it on Fox and stuff, I was like, oh, I can watch SmackDown, and they took it away. And Raw was on like USA, and I'm like, I can't watch it. So I'd see the pay-per-views on Peacock, but I didn't know what was going on. It's still fun to watch, but I was like, what are these storylines? And why is this person not with this person anymore? So bringing it to somewhere where the majority of us around the world are on Netflix is it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. That's one of the big things. Like, me, I've been a wrestling fan my whole entire life. I know you have been as well. And with that, it's like, man, it's not easy to watch anymore. Like, I don't have the USA Network. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. You know what I mean? So it's like, I wish I did so that I could watch it. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
I don't. So it's like, all right, cool. And then it's like SmackDown's on whatever the hell CW, FW, whatever. I mean, wasn't it moving to the USA Network too now? Like, is
Something like that.
Yeah, so it's like I don't have that either, but that doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore because what we're going to do here is every week we're going to recap everything, all the big events that happened on Raw each and every week. This week was, of course, the big occasion. It made its debut on Raw after being on the USA Network for like 30 years or whatever it was, but there was a lot of build going into this, right? You know what I mean? There was a lot of unique things. I did love, and we'll talk about the opening and all that stuff in a second, but I love Pat McAfee being back. I don't know how you feel about Pat McAfee. I know he's like an acquired taste for a lot of people, but for me, I love Pat McAfee. I think that his excitement about the wrestling business is something, and I think that he watches it from the fan perspective, which allows you to have a little bit more fun because like he's watching it like us, while Michael Cole's taking it a little bit more seriously, which I love Michael Cole too, but they play well off of each other, and I love the idea of them being back together. What about you?
Yeah, no, every time I watch any professional sport, any college sport, I always wish there was like a regular person to kind of like not try to sound so sophisticated or watching a sport where it's brutal. Like I don't need these, $10 words to describe somebody getting a foot in their face. Pat, I've never really had an opinion, negative or positive about Pat. I think he's cool when I see him. I usually kind of agree with him, but I never saw what the big deal was or people didn't like him because he just, like you said, he just seems like one of us. So it's cool to see like someone who is genuinely excited. He's excited to see the wrestlers come past the table and wants to dap them up because I would be doing the same shit. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dapped up tonight. Like that's cool. And then of course with the balance of Cole, like it's a good pairing.
I agree with you 100%. Obviously, we had the little bit of the opening, which was like some razzle dazzle, I guess you can say. To me, it was okay. It was like nice little homage to some things. It was an interesting night, to say the least. And like I said, we'll kind of recap some of the major things, talk about the matches, talk about what transpired. And by talk about matches, I mean that loosely. There wasn't a whole lot of them. I think the show ran a little bit over 2.5 hours. I think it was like 2:44. It was interesting watching something on Netflix and getting commercials. That was weird a little bit, you know what I mean? But as far as like, we'll start about the presentation. I didn't have any hiccups. The show ran pretty smoothly. The innovative camera work was really cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the one thing I've seen. After the I forget what uh, Paul calls them, but they don't call them pay per views. They call them like premiere live events. I think PLEs or something like that. And that's a lot what the people talk about is the camera work, the cinematography. They make it very cinematic. It is this kind of athletic, brutal soap opera. So why not give the people a full movie, TV show experience at home? And yeah, I mean, I was wondering how they're gonna do it. On Netflix, especially when we had the live problems before. But I do remember him saying after one of the events that they were bringing their own people. They had the cameras, they had their own techniques, and there's that shot they were kept showing throughout the night where they were coming out and they would turn around, look at the crowd behind them, and then the camera would zoom out. It's like, dude, it looks so fucking good.
yeah, and I listened to the press conference after the show. I watched it a little bit today, and I was listening to him talk about how they have a little bit more freedom in some of the things that they want to do. And another thing that they liked about it is that they're able to get like up to the minute like reactions from from people of Netflix. Hey, like this is how many people are watching right now, or this is how many people are talking about it. It trended last night and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
obviously, we got a little bit of a build up with Triple H. I don't really feel like we have to dive too much in that, and it opened the right way. You know what I mean? You brought The Rock out, which which has been crazy because there's times where he comes, he gets booed. There's times where he did the whole the whole entire thing with Cody Rhodes. He became a kind of like that heel dynamic, but he came out to a huge pop. The crowd was there for it. I love the little he's got the little gray going on in his beard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was kind of funny. There was a few funny things that I found hilarious about this moment. He gave his little fake belt that I like to call to his daughters who were sitting front row. And then of course he gives a few shout out to people, and then he shout out Cody Rhodes, who's like randomly sitting in the crowd for no reason. But yeah, what did you think of this entire little Rock setup moment here?
Well, man, so The Rock's been one of my favorite wrestlers, favorite people since I was, I don't know, in elementary school. And it's crazy to see like this progression into him, being the most electrifying man in entertainment to one of the board members, but also the final boss. And the only downside to me is that we didn't get the final boss, right? He comes out with that energy at first, and he has the belt, and he's got the fit on, and then he came out all nice, and I was like, bro, y'all had beef like a couple months ago or last year, and I get it. They wanted to kick off the new Netflix era, and they wanted to welcome in everybody who hadn't been watching or whatnot. But like, at least give me 50-50. Come in like talking your shit, and then do some how they were kind of doing some of these behind the scenes shots. Then you can show them, give them love to, hey man, I appreciate you, blah blah. But I wanted to see him like throw down the gauntlet at somebody, at least for a moment, just to kind of really kick things off. But other than that, I mean, it's The Rock, man. Like, anytime he grabs the microphone, you're like this. What's he gonna say?
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things that I had a problem with too. Like, you know what I mean? I wanted something more from this. It was more of a, and there's several moments of this throughout this episode that I feel like kind of it trickled down and I didn't love was the idea of like the kiss ass. Like this was like a kiss ass moment. It's like we're moving to Netflix. Like you don't have to sell the idea of being on Netflix. Millions of people are going to watch that you typically wouldn't watch. Hell, even fast forwarding the replay today, it was so easy. I woke up, I was working today, and I was like, let me take a few more notes about some things maybe I missed because I went back and rewatched the Rhea Ripley and the Ripley and Morgan match, and I was like, I really wanted to rewatch that because I thought it was good. But then I was like going back and forth, I was like, man, I really wish they would have done. It was more of a. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I agree with you. Like there was something missing from The Rock, and even a little bit when we talk about Cena, I'll talk about that there too. But this led right into Roman Reigns versus Solo Siaki. The winner obviously becomes the tribal chief. The one thing that I do find hilarious was there's no more like not acknowledging the chants, because like the big chant was "fuck you, Solo."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like even McAfee was like, "Hey, we're on Netflix. Like, are we allowed to acknowledge the fact that these guys are saying, the crowd is saying these things?" Because in the past it was like, "Oh, well, you know what they're saying," and it's like,
Yeah. This
but
one, fuck you, Solo. And I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
I was like, damn, they loud, loud, loud.
And I don't remember exactly what Paul had said before about what the rating was going to be, like the TV rating. And I was like, is this going to be like Attitude Era? Are we like really getting back to that point?
I mean, I'd
And
be for it.
yeah, and we did, we saw a little blood here and there that was probably unintentional,
Yeah.
because I saw some hard blows, but I was like, oh, maybe we're going back, and I know we're probably not right now, but I think that it's what the people want. Give the people what they want. We as kids grew up in this shit. It's okay. These kids are resilient and tough enough to handle what we handle. They may not run around, doing the X-Pac thing and suck it and shit, but like, they can handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my days of being in school and getting in trouble for shirts that I was wearing. You know what I mean? There was a lot
Oh
of shirts
yeah.
that came out that I wanted that we'd get at the local show, and then you'd wear it. But as far as the match goes, I'll be honest with you, it was okay. I'm not a big fan of Solo Sikoa. I don't think he's very good. I don't think he's good at all. I think that this purposefully played exactly what we needed to. I feel like there was a million different things that happened. You had a million different guys come out. You had I did like the false finishes. Never one time did I ever believe in this match that Solo was going to win the match. You knew he wasn't going to,
Yeah.
which I think what played a little bit against it. There was only one time that I felt like there was a decent chance that there might be some little twist here, was obviously when Kevin Owens comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me be on record. And for those of you listening, I was, I used to be a professional wrestler. Nothing makes me more mad than when you're watching a match and there's a lot of shit going on and fucking music hits. Why does the music fucking hit? It makes me so mad. There's nothing like, just have them run down the fucking aisle. Let the audience be the seat. Like, why do you have to play the music and you play it for 3 seconds? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it happened, and I was just like, why? Like, just let them run. Like, they never used to do that. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you just let them run down the aisle.
I can understand if it was like someone you hadn't seen in like months or years or whatever.
These are guys that we know. Whenever the Jacob fought too, and the other loser came out or whatever, and they were like beating him down, like you knew Sammy and Jay were coming.
Jimmy,
whatever, were coming out. You know, I mean, you knew the Uso was going to come out. You knew Sami Zayn was going to come out, but then and then Kevin Owens appears out of nowhere. I'm like, that's the shock of it. Like, that's the cool part of it.
Yeah, because I was like, where the fuck did he come from?
Exactly. You know what I mean? And then, it was more dumb. I hate it. I hate the music being played. But
I think the times, and it's a gift and a curse, right? This entire family, Roman, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, Jimmy J, all like The Rock. This is the greatest family in sports, right? The bloodline storyline, super dope. The Ula Fala is cool. But every single time I've turned on Raw or I've seen clips, it's always bloodline. And I get it. That's your bread and butter. But even in the comments, I mean, people are kind of like, hey, you guys got more wrestlers. I want to see some other people. Because at some point, I don't know what you do with this. Because, it was different when we used to have like DX and NWO in the 90s, because it was mayhem. And it wasn't always just about them wrestling. They were just going to fuck shit up because they were like the rebels of these organizations. And the bloodline, because they're supposed to be kind of, like a mafia, tribe type of thing. They sit back and they don't go do all the crazy shit. Now, Solo and them did when they did the New Bloodline. They were a little bit more chaotic, but it's like you gotta. And maybe this is gonna be the change. You know, the Ulafala goes back to Roman and Jimmy J, Sammy. They kind of got their faction back, so maybe it changes a little bit. And you know, I don't know what Jacob Fatu is gonna do, but like they gotta find another narrative than just the battling family because it's been going on for like 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I hope Jacob Fatu just goes back home. That guy's terrible. Like he was supposed to cut, like he came into the ring, he was supposed to do something, and he got caught up in the damn broken table or whatever it was. It was hilarious. Those guys, some of those guys are just awful. And I know
Jacob,
they brought him.
I think Jacob's good when he's able to wrestle, but I feel like they turned him into a caricature. They're just like, dude, the werewolf. Well, before it was just, you know, like he was just super like brolic as far as like strength and athletic ability, and then he just had him back there all the time. Yeah, and it's like, come on, dude, like.
Yeah, it's really crazy to me because like it's insane. Like why it's a consistent just a consistent slug. I'm over it. I'm over talking about it. I'm over. Let's put Roman Reigns in there with somebody that actually has some talent. You know what I mean? And let them get back to
And
somebody
real quick,
that matters.
I would love, like, I love Roman, right? Roman's got the look. He's got the charisma. He's got everything the Rock's got. Roman's got it. But there's only so many times I can see a fucking spear, dog. Like, I love the spear. I love it, but it's because it used to be like a move that was only reserved for like 3 people at one point. Now everybody has a spear, and I'm like,
yeah, and he's using it as a fucking finishing move out here, and he did it like 6 times in that.
Yeah, match. If your finisher is supposed to be a finisher, you know what I mean? Like, you think there wasn't that many people getting up from a choke slam. There wasn't that many people getting up from a pedigree or a stunner or a rock bottom, and then he's spearing people 6 times a match, and it's like, come on, man, come on.
I mean, I agree 100%. The match was very predictable. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was. No shock. Roman won. The Rock came out, acknowledged him. That whole thing, I just didn't care. Like, that's it. I just don't care. You know what I mean? You guys are at each other's throat 1 minute. Now we're kissing babies the next minute. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell if it's telling the timeline of, all right, maybe The Rock isn't wrestling this year. Maybe he isn't. Type of scenario, whatever. But speaking of maybe wrestling, maybe not wrestling, we have obviously John Cena, who came out in one of the 72 different promos that really like just kept on. Like that was the kind of theme of it. I didn't mind it. I don't mind Cena. It's his final run, kind of quote unquote. And then he was like, "Oh, I can't be champion. Blah blah blah. Oh, but I could enter the Royal Rumble, and just happenstance. I could be doing this. I could be." I like Cena. Excited for the final run. I don't really have much to add there. What about you, Dom?
Yeah, I just if he's gonna this is his last year. I just want them to, if they respect Cena the way they claim they do, let him go out and like blockbuster style. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to win the Rumble or a belt, but at least make it worth it. You know what I mean? And of course that's partly up to him. Maybe he wants to preserve some of his body for something he's shooting or whatever. But I know they're done with Peacemaker season 2, I believe. So he should have some time. So I don't. Yeah, it's I love Cena. I used to think he was goofy because I know he was supposed to be, but I was kind of like, okay, this guy. But you grow to love him, and we all know Cena's a really good ass dude in general. So yeah, hopefully they just give him a significant run. If you're gonna build it up this much, I need him to be cracking skulls, man.
Yeah, exactly. I need him. Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. Moving on, we had the only women's match of the night and only really significant women of any sort being on the show, really, if you think about it, which is crazy to me. Is like you have an intercontinental championship that's being crowned, but we're going to wait till the next week to do that, which is weird. But Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, look, to just put in the perspective of these two are great in the ring with one another, right? They know they've been wrestling. They've probably wrestled each other, probably 100 times now. You know what I mean? It shows they know how to make a great match. It was by far the best, in my opinion, by far the best match on the card.
Yep.
I thought they were. I thought it was the perfect night for a title change. I think putting her winning the belt was huge. I thought it was pivotal. It's kind of like a new era, new momentum. I don't even care if she loses it back next week. I just thought the moment was perfect for it. I think that maybe you have the trickle down effect of the Dom Liv situation, kind of maybe, the riptide of that whole entire thing. And then, of course, when she riptides him, it got a massive pop. But to me, I love this entire match. What about you?
Yeah, first off, two of the baddest women in wrestling. Let's just be honest, right? Women love them, guys love them, we all love them. Rhea is just pure brute strength, and it's ridiculous that she's able to do what she does. That riptide on fucking Dom, that was harder than she did on Liv. And then Liv is just super athletic, and I think what this does further this whole storyline is, unlike the bloodline situation, with Rhea getting this back, and Dom seems like he's just following the belt around and goes to try to get back at Rhea. So then you have this that faction possibly gonna fracture because you already had Finn. He's trying to run shit in Judgment Day, and Dom is just he hasn't really done much lately. I mean, Dom's a good wrestler. I don't know why they keep having him with this like Pepe Le Pew type thing, because he's a legitimately good ass wrestler, and his name is Dom. You can't have Doms out there looking like this, okay? So I do think this was a good win. I think it's good for that whole storyline because Liv, I think she can have her own identity. She's had it before. And her partner, maybe they break off and like, look, we don't need Judgment Day. We'll do our own show. Was it Raquel? And we get this whole, I don't know who Rhea has allegiance with besides, I can't think of his name.
Damian Priest. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, but she's going to need, I think at some point, like another woman partner. And I know she's cool with Bianca and Naomi, but they're their own thing. So she's got to find somebody else. I don't know who that's going to be. Maybe Bailey. I don't know, but it's going to be interesting going forward.
I totally agree. Let me say this as well. I was a fan of Undertaker for a long time.
Yeah.
Big fan of Undertaker, but I hated this entire thing.
No, me too.
I felt like you took away from everything that you just saw. You have her win the title. It was a monumental moment, and I get it, right? You know what I mean? You wanted to put Undertaker on the show, but there's so many different ways you could have done this.
And it felt weird. It just felt out of place.
She's like kissing or getting ready to bite the belt. The music goes off. He doesn't even acknowledge her whenever he drives by at first. And at first I was like, oh, is that all we're going to get? Like she's just going to walk to the back. But then it was like, oh, okay, whatever, he did the thing. But I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this was pointless. I just thought it was the dumbest thing ever. Like, nothing like interrupting a woman winning a belt. The only women you're going to have on the show really do anything for an unneeded man's performance of the Undertaker. It was pointless to me. And
part of me, I understand like why they come back sometimes, but Undertaker had one of the best send-offs ever. And then he came back again, another send-off. And then he just keeps on, bro, go away. Like, it just kind of, I don't know, it tarnishes it. And then, now we get to know you as a person more. And, it starts to blend together. And now you are the American Badass Undertaker, which is even more blended in with the shit you were talking about months ago. So it's like, bro, I don't go back. Go back to the dungeon.
Yeah, I fucking hated it. I thought it was stupid, and I thought it completely took away from everything from Rhea winning the belt in that moment. Next match was Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. First things first, let me say I love when Pat McAfee hypes up the Usos.
Yeah, I do too.
But my favorite thing in this
Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. My favorite thing in this entire episode. Can you hear me? You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
My favorite thing in this entire episode was Michael Cole being on top of the announce table too.
And then you have fucking Travis Scott lighting up a blunt, just like, we're in Cali, who cares?
Exactly. It was awesome. I love the play up of it afterwards. He's like, man, it's going to take me a few minutes to get. How do I get down from here? And it was just a funny little moment. He's like, man, it gives me a second. I'm out of breath. It was awesome. It was a cool little moment. One of the things that I don't know if you caught, it was kind of crazy how down the middle of this, like the crowd was kind of down the middle in this match for a little bit. They were both on Drew and Jay. I think both of these are great. I like both of these guys. I think Drew is a fucking star.
Yeah, he's gaining a bigger fan base, and I think it's because, like, for one, I loved his outfit when he comes out, but I think he needs a new wrestling attire and let him play up this, like, I know we have the Wyatt Six, but like let him play up crazy. That's his thing now. Is he's kind of this like this super obsessive person, and he gets kind of nuts, and then he's like, you know what, I need to beat somebody's ass, and I think you play that up. So give him some new attire. I don't know how you want to change them, but Hill McIntyre is really fucking good, and Jay gives off the energy The Rock did, like 98, 99, 2000 Rock. Like when Jay comes out, it's a party. It's hard not to like the guy. He fucking looks cool all the time, and he's just energy all the way through.
Yeah, I think one of the most impressive thing about Jay is he's proved so many different people wrong about not being able to be the guy by himself, right?
Yep.
Uso brother, the Usos were a great tag team, but to me, like, he's done a great job of producing by himself. He doesn't need a tag team partner. I think that he's the type of guy that really can do this on his own. And I really feel like they fumbled the bag a little bit with Drew McIntyre. I don't feel like they should have given him like a proper heel bad guy championship run. He still deserves it. I don't know how they get there, but they need to get there. I hate the fact that he was utilized to propel CM Punk, which I'll talk about that in a little bit because I got some distaste there. But I thought it was a great match. I thought it was a perfect match. It was a good, solid match. Nothing flashy, but perfect. I love the quick roll-up. The roll-up never hurts anybody. It's a quick roll-up. It's out of nowhere. Drew's strong. Jay's strong. The match is strong. These two put on a good match. I enjoyed it.
And tell me, Drew's moves look like some of the most painful shit. Because not only is he just a brolic-ass dude, but, like, he sells the fuck out of those moves, man.
Yeah.
And Jay's a good ass ring partner, but I'm just like that. Was it the Claymore? I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude's fucking insane, man, and nicest guy in the world too. I met him and got to interview him that one time, but nicest guy in the world too. He lives here in Tennessee with us. So.
Oh shit.
All right, now on to more than likely the funniest moment of the entire night. Probably the funniest moment of the entire night. Probably. So Hulk Hogan comes out. Hulk Hogan for many years has come out to lots of cheers, no matter how many different ways he's come back. Yeah. And you would think maybe in LA, it's Hulk Hogan. It's coming out. Let's cheer Hogan. No. That motherfucker was booed.
Boo.
The look on his face.
I know he tried to play it off too. He tried his best to play it off. Dude,
I'm still befuddled at the like what transpired here. And to me, like he has this dumb look on his face the entire time, and he doesn't know what to do. He's shocked by it, I think, which, I mean, I was kind of shocked by it, to be honest with you, like how loud it was, because at first it was like, oh, he came out, he's being booed. All right, whatever. But then it got louder. Like when he talked or whatever, it got louder and louder. And it has now created, and I got to pull this up really fast. Thank God for technology here. But it's now created one of the new memes of the world, which I find hilarious, which is this. The closed caption crowds it, you know what I mean? He's got his new Real American beer, which I think probably tastes like shit like him. But like the crowd booing above it.
And poor Jimmy Hart's like, bro, I'm just here.
Just fucking here, man, waving the American flag, brother. But yeah, like this, he just The boos are fantastic. One of the funniest things I've ever heard. First off, him bringing up Randy Savage was bullshit. Randy Savage hated that man with a fucking passion, and
Hmm.
rightfully so. He's a piece of shit. But like him bringing him up to talking about his like history of whatever. But I loved this entire moment. Not loved it for that it drove anything other than stupidity out of that idiot of a man. So
Yeah, and I've seen some back and forth on online. This has nothing to do with just Trump's politics. I mean, just Hogan's politics. It's the fact that he's a trash ass person. If you talk,
100%.
if you've seen all these different wrestling documentaries or interviews, and they bring up Hulk Hogan, most of the dudes don't like this dude. I mean, they were trying to form a union at one point, and then Hogan went and snitched and was like, "Jesse is trying to form a union." He went and told Vince McMahon, and he's giving on tape, saying racial slurs and like he's just a shit person. So people can say it's because he likes Trump. Nah, he's a piece of shit. That's all. Sorry, that's all it is. Because
Exactly.
they didn't boo Triple H because he's been seen with Trump lately. There's other we know which guys are a little more conservative, and we can separate it because they don't broadcast it the same way. Even Undertaker gets cheered. We know Trump is on his podcast and he supports him, whatever, but he's not out here being hateful and racist, the way that Hogan is. So them boos were well deserved.
Yeah, it's not just because of his politics. Dude's a fucking piece of shit, period. So hopefully this is a wake up call to never bring him back.
Yeah.
All right. So the main event of the night, Punk versus Rollins. Rollins. This match was built ever since CM Punk's return. It's been promised, it's been built. I thought it was interesting to kind of give this match out on Raw, I
Yeah.
guess. I'm gonna be completely honest. I think Punk's return has been terrible. I think his mic work last week, when I watched the clips of it's bad. Like the crowd really doesn't connect with him like they used
Yeah.
to. You know what I mean? And I'm starting to know this more and more. The crowd was again 50-50 in this match between Rollins and Punk here, but I felt this match was lackluster. I feel like it's been built for so long that I wanted more out of it. I think they only had like 14 or 15 minutes. I think they went not very long, especially for a main event. Unless this is going to happen again, which I don't know if it's going to happen right away. And if it's not happening right away, this pisses me off even more because I feel like you kind of just buried Rollins for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
He loses this match. Like, what does he
Yeah.
come into the table with?
Rollins seems to be kind of getting this shit into the stick since like
Forever.
WrestleMania last year. It just I don't know, man, and you can kind of see it in his face and his energy. He just kind of seems like I'm over it. I don't know.
Yep.
Like I think a lot of times when he's talking about carrying, the franchise for 10 years while Punk was gone, he's like, bro, I'm tired. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be home with Becky and the kid. Like, you can see it on his face, and I hope this isn't like the way you send him on a break because it's not befitting of a guy who, when his music. I remember like when I first really got back into it, and I didn't realize his persona had changed as much. So he comes out, like Ric Flair, and the whole fucking crowd is, oh, and I was like, dude, this is fucking hard as shit.
Yeah.
And that energy since WrestleMania, I've just seen it be depleted. And it's because I think part of it, he's not getting his just due. I don't know what's going on. There's so many moving pieces, so many different storylines that are going on, and it just seems like his isn't priority right now. So yeah, I just kind of see at some point this year we're gonna see him, get hurt, and he's gonna take a break, man.
Yeah, it's weird to me because, like I said, I first off, the match itself to me was kind of lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, like I feel like Punk's time has come and gone for being the guy. And
Yeah.
now it's like, all right, so he beat quote unquote the guy, which is the, you always have the guys that are like fighting right below the title. So then you had Punk fulfill his feud with Drew McIntyre. So he put himself over on McIntyre. So now he's moving up the charts to what everybody believes is the guy before the guy, which is Rollins, right? So now you have him. I don't think that he can produce at the level of which that he used to. And because of that, you're going to have what? Can he Gunther or Roman Reigns? Like I heard that he called him out post show, whatever. They had a little thing on YouTube, whatever they called him out. And it's like, does that the guy really want feuding with Gunther or even Roman Reigns? Like I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? I have no desire for a WrestleMania match of CM Punk versus Roman Reigns or CM Punk versus Gunther. I don't think that doesn't check a box for me.
I feel like he doesn't even have the mic skills he once had.
No, not at all.
I think you gotta focus on the things that are popular and controversial, right? Logan Paul, LA Knight. I see New Day's trying to.
I fucking hate LA Knight.
Right, but that's the thing.
But at least he's popular. You know
and I see New Day trying to like. It's almost like I feel bad for them because I feel like they're being made to be a joke. Like y'all don't care about what happened with us and Big E, and they just keep getting brushed off or whatever. But they don't have the same pop they once had without Big E. Like I like Kofi, but it's like I don't know, man. Y'all have to change something of it. Turn heel, go complete bad, and maybe something will change. But yeah, Punk, he ain't the guy he used to be. Every time I see him, like you said, like I get kind of like, I don't care.
Yeah, and that's exactly. So then when he wins, I'm very much like, okay.
Yeah, focus on Damian. Damian's a good ass fucking wrestler.
Yeah,
I feel really bad too for like Ricochet. I heard from what I understand is that he's one of the best wrestlers working right now.
Period.
But I've heard that he's not good on the microphone. He doesn't like to talk.
Yeah.
So like I get it, but like make him somebody who doesn't talk.
Neither is Roman Reigns. And you know what they did with him? They gave him Paul E. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Paul Heyman is one of the greatest on the microphone ever. Why aren't you using CM Punk to elevate some of these younger guys?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why can't you make CM Punk the new Paul Heyman? He used to be so good on the microphone. You know what I mean? Like you have, like CM Punk should be the middle guy that is like the guy you fight before you get to the title. It should have been the roles reversed. Hey, Drew McIntyre, in order for you to be the man, you got to beat me, before you get to that next level. I mean, to me, like a Drew McIntyre Roman Reigns feud has so much more interest in me than a fucking CM Punk Roman Reigns feud does. You know what I mean? I like the idea. There's so many different guys you can put in that bubble.
Yeah, I think they need to go back to more character based. We don't have we have the Wyatts, and you have Judgment Day like what Judgment Day used to be, but you don't have a lot of like characters as much anymore. You have personalities, but you don't have a Kane. You know what I mean? You don't have a fucking Umaga. You don't, and I know you can't go too far back because a lot of this shit was kind of like stereotypes, and they're just like, "Hey, you're this," but like get back to doing some like cool, creepy, edgy shit. Like if I was them, I'm getting Ricochet, right? You put him in something that's
he's in AEW now,
right? Yeah. But they should have signed his ass back and like, hey, look. Since you can't really talk, make him like a Sting type of character, some kind of demon type thing where he's flipping and jumping and he seems unstoppable because you let one of the best wrestlers go. Like if people go and just look at his wrestling or go look at old clips, this dude is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Right. As much as people don't like Logan Paul, he's a good ass fucking wrestler and he's willing to put his body on the line for every match. And that's what they need because some of these. Like, what was that? It was the CM Punk and Rollins. The fucking when he throws him off the rope to that weird ass sloppy suplex, he just falls on them. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
what are we doing right now?
Yeah, exactly. And it was weird to me, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe I missed them. Like, but where were the War Raiders last night? You
Yeah.
know, the
Oh,
Raw.
they were in the crowd.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have your tag team champions in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, Braun Breaker. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
Intercontinental Champion. Where like Gunther is your Raw heavyweight champion, and he was diminished to what, a little clip that we made of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't know. I feel like so for me, like overall, like for an almost 3 hour show, we get 4 wrestling matches. I didn't think it was a bad show, but for a first show on Netflix, I really feel like you had an opportunity to show the idea of quote unquote wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You can let the entertainment purpose sell itself throughout the show, but you didn't do enough wrestling wise. I felt like to sell that portion of what you're doing. You're not you're trying to come over, and they're always trying to solidify themselves or position themselves as a sport. I'm always been, I feel like it is, go in the fucking ring, tell me you do it for fucking 15 minutes. You can't. But for me, it's like you're selling the idea of wrestling, and you had a solid match with Drew and Jay and Ray Ripley and Morgan had a fucking phenomenal match. But
Mm-hmm.
you book in that with a weak Roman Reigns match that was just okay, and then you have the Punk and Rollins thing. Rollins thing was just kind of lackluster to me. I thought it was a good overall show, but I thought it was okay for a kickoff show.
Yeah, and I know part of it is to um bring in as many eyeballs as possible to where you have some people who might be on the fence about watching it with their kids or as a family or whatever, and you go, oh, this isn't too bad. But like wrestling was never supposed to be for everybody, right? Like I understand it's a business, but it was supposed to be for those who got it, right? That's why there was like the quote unquote, you could tell who's wrestling fans, right? Like you look in the crowd and you go, oh, that's a wrestling fan. And yeah, and the thing is, it was so unique and individualistic to itself that it brought in the celebrities. You didn't have to appeal to the celebrities and the stars to bring them in. They liked it because it was like, oh, they're fucking doing some punk shit, some rock shit, and doing their own thing and saying fuck everybody else. That's what made it cool. And now you're trying to appeal to all these people. Like no, like that's not what made WWF, WWE, WCW, ECW, AEW. That's not what made it popular. It got popular because we're doing this shit and you're gonna like it if you like it, and if you don't, you might dodge in and out like, oh, I kind of like this but I don't like this. But The Rock didn't become The Rock by trying to appeal to everybody. He appealed to the Rock fans. And I think they are kind of forgetting that a little bit with the mergers of the TKO thing and all this stuff. But if you have a company like the UFC that can literally be about beating people's asses, then you can step up WWE and make it, PG-13. You maybe you don't want to go complete, Attitude Era. But we need something close. Where's the hardcore matches? Where's the constant table, ladders, and chairs? Like, where's the new Dudley Boys at? You know what I mean? Where's the new Hardy Boys at?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it felt a little bit lackluster in the end. But you know what? I'm excited. We're here talking about it. We'll be back talking about it again next week. It should be another good show. Hopefully they are building up. I think they have the Intercontinental title, the women's title match being crowned, so that'll be good. Maybe we'll get a little bit more wrestling wrapped up in that, and maybe we'll see what's kind of next for some of these other guys in this storyline. But yeah, we'll release this every week. This will be on podcast platforms across the board here in the near future. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And like I said, we'll be back next week with some more talk about, the Netflix on Raw podcast here.
Oh, yeah, brother.